Hey there, welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Continuing coverage of the Republican National Convention all week on WBAP. I'm going to be watching it. Mark Levin's going to be watching it. Chris Crock is watching it. The Morning Show is watching it. Casey Bartholomew's watching it. We're all keeping an eye on it, and it seems so weird that we have all these giant storylines going on at the same time around this election, which was already weird to begin with. This is the first time we've had a former president going up against an incumbent president. This is the first time we had zero of a primary/caucus season. The guys were already known. It was just a mere formality. And then you want to throw on a couple of other weird scenarios leading into the attempted assassination, and that was just 2 days before the Republican National Convention starts. Oh, yeah, a lot to talk about. Let's lean on one of our friends here, back on the show from Young Voices, Connor Vasile. Welcome back to the James Show. I would like to first get your raw reaction to Trump's VP pick being JD Vance. You think this is a good move?
Thanks for having me back. I think it's a pretty solid pick. I mean, with what he's trying to go for, especially in this election cycle, Vance is a pretty solid pick with what Trump wants to go through in terms of the populist agenda. He's trying to reach out to the common man, and considering J.P. Vance's background, I think it's a pretty solid pick.
So I don't think he's going to pick up new demographics, but geographically speaking, a lot of people are making the point that he is very influential and could win voters in the Rust Belt area. Now, Ohio's been red, probably going to be red, no question about it. But this may help him pick up Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Do you think that's the thought process here?
I believe that was the strongest persuasive element in picking Vance. I mean, a lot of those people, as you said, the Rust Belt, maybe down in Appalachia, these areas, they feel that they're forgotten by the government. And this is, regardless of whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, unfortunately, a lot of Americans these days feel just neglected by the people that are supposedly supposed to represent them. So Vance, in that sense, could pick up a lot of votes, but you're definitely right, sir. In terms of getting new voters, independent voters, in that sense, probably not.
Well, something that does look like it's aimed at picking up new voters. Amber Rose spoke at the Republican National Convention. Such a strange lineup that we have, because she now is a proud supporter of all things MAGA, but just 9 years ago she was one of the founding members of the Slut Walk. So how do you go from far-left feminist activists to a Trump supporter? I find this a very compelling storyline.
Definitely. I mean, it's one of two pathways, right? One is that the Republicans, or what Trump is offering, is really that enticing for these people to really think about where they're coming from and wanting to switch aisles. The other one is that Biden and the Democrats are doing so poorly, so badly, that they're now sticking it to Trump now.
Yeah, well, I like that. I think the second part of your rationale makes a lot more sense, because, look, the Republicans and Trump have been pretty consistent in their messaging. They haven't changed their policy positions or who they are or their approach to it or their color scheme or anything. I think a lot of the reason why some people seem to be thawing out to the idea that maybe Trump isn't Hitler is really just because of how poor Joe Biden has done.
Exactly. I mean, that's pretty much what it's come down to. We've all seen these past few years. Everyone has been struggling in terms of prices, socially, culturally. This whole country has been really struggling in that sense, because we have an administration that really just genuinely does not care. Now, this whole new wave of unorthodox voters coming towards Trump, as you said, the lineup of speakers we had last night, we have the Teamsters now backing Trump. Whoever saw that.
What the heck is that about? Yeah, where'd that come from?
What universe do we live in? With all that said and done, it's good in the moment, right? You're having people who are at the very least open to the possibility that maybe a Trump administration, a second one, is good for them. Shocking, I know, scandalous to say. But the battle's not done. We need to ensure that in order to continually succeed in making sure that the Constitution is honored, we're having a less government, smaller government, maybe even do away with some superfluous agencies. We got to make sure that these new people who are entertaining a Trump vote actually understand the platform, understand where these leaders are coming from, and truly believe a quote-unquote Republican or conservative perspective as opposed to just voting for Trump out of disparity.
So I'm under the impression, Connor, that the Republicans are headed for a landslide in November, and something huge, an October surprise or, I don't know, maybe a literal landslide would have to happen to stop this. Am I too optimistic?
You know, ever since 2016, I take everything with a huge grain of salt. Regarding polls, you know, where we've seen recently, Trump is up in very many states, including those contentious areas. But at the end of the day, we have no clue what's going to happen. As you said, some surprise may come about, a literal landslide, an avalanche, a hurricane, whatever could really tip the scales in any way. And I'm not going to hold my breath just yet. I mean, we've seen a little progress. We've seen, a lot of passion from voters, from everyday Americans. But at the end of the day, people need to go out and vote. And no one can control that except for those people themselves.
What do you think about my marketing recommendations? I haven't been part of a political campaign ever, but I think they should change their motto to something like "Hit me with your best shot" or something like that. Any recommendations where they could capitalize on this even more?
Oh, definitely. I mean, they got timing on their side right now. They can just, lean into that whole, like, you missed me, or, something like that.
Right.
Really bring about a Reagan moment. All that being said, people have been, in the past few days, it's been wild. It's been a crazy news cycle. We all just want to take a break from it and just recuperate. That being said, people, I think, are really waking up to how ridiculous the situation is and really straying away from this whole woke ideology, which in the end it's not good for anybody.
All right, Connor, tell the folks in Texas what you got going on outside the James Show.
Great, thank you. So I'm on Twitter. You can follow me on Connor_Vasile, V as in Victor. I also got 2 books out on Amazon. The State Knows Best, which is about law enforcement and crime policy in America, and also I'm Joe Biden.
All right. You know how to spell Connor. That last name is Vasile. Thank you, Connor.
Thank you.